Yeah, 10, 8 to 10 a week.
Oh,
It's crazy.
So, Mr. Delegate, what you gonna do about that low?
I'm afraid to take any of it out.
And that was great. Short their time, they still do it.
It came up just a little bit, but not much, but they don't have a choice. Always, everything's so highly regulated, you can imagine it. All kinds of things. Yeah, like one says, but.
Well, everything from here to Atlanta's down, because we drove down to
Philpott's not bad, Lake Gaston's not bad, Clear Lake, none of that's bad.
Claytor Lake hasn't moved out of its range.
That's what I'm saying.
Claytor has not moved out of its range.
Neither has Kerr and Lake Gaston. They're great.
Well, Lake Gaston's required to keep it that way. So everybody upstream has to keep it.
That's right.
They piped that from Virginia Beach, did. Some
Right. A little power down there, you know, they got. I think they stuck a big pipe up there down around the dam at Sweet Mountain to ran it out toward Bedford. So, yeah. I don't know what is that.
All right, we'll call the Thursday, June 4th, 2026 meeting of the New College Institute Board of Directors meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone. We'll now have Olivia do the roll call.
All right. Dr. Mark Crabtree,
Present.
Delegate Nicole Cole,
Present.
Ms. Valerie J. Crummy,
Present.
Mr. Jay Dickens, Stacy Gordon, present. Senator Chris Head, Dr. Eric Jones,
Present.
Mr. Kevin Lane,
Present.
Delegate Destiny LaVere Bowling,
Present.
Miss Ashley Lockhart,
Present.
Mr. Michael Lunsgard,
Present.
Delegate Eric Phillips,
Here.
Mr. Lee Prilliman,
Here.
Senator Conan Srinivasan here, and Mr. Marcus Stone. You have a quorum.
Thank you. In your package you received that was sent prior to the meeting. Before I get into the chair's report, next thing on the agenda is the approval of our January 15th, 2026 board minutes. Like to entertain a motion of the approval of those minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a proper first and second for the adoption of the minutes. Is there any discussion? No discussion, we'll go to a vote. All vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. We have approval of the January 15th, 2026 board minutes. At this time, I'll get into some comments from the chair's seat. Some things that we'll be discussing today and some things that are changing here at New College Institute. First, I'd like to thank and welcome and give the floor respectively to our newest members of the board, Delegate Eric Phillips and Delegate Nicole Cole. So at this time, Delegate Cole, welcome. We're glad to have you. With you being virtually, we'll let you go first, but we'd like to say our welcomes and give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the board.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here and to have been appointed to this board. Um, uh, had not too long ago had an orientation and just excited for the work that we have in front of us as the organization makes moves to change to better serve the Western Piedmont area. And I am the delegate for House District 66, which is parts of Spotsylvania County and Caroline County. I guess in makeup, Caroline and some of the more western parts of my district are similar to the areas that the education center is in. So I'm looking forward to participating. I'm actually formerly served as a school board member in Spotsylvania. I have a business in that's called the College Money Team. And so, I've had a passion for education and providing educational opportunities for our youth and young adults for years. And so again, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Delegate Cole. We appreciate having you. Very excited. When I met you during the orientation, we had some fruitful discussions. I love the ideas that you're going to bring to the table. So Delegate Phillips, over to you.
Sure, yeah. Obviously, I'm Delegate Eric Phillips. I represent 48th District, which is Pittsylvania County, Henry County, City of Martinsville. So I do represent the area right here where NCI sits. And just look forward to participating as a board member and doing good things here that benefit not only our community, but the Commonwealth. And I think we have a lot of positive momentum and new changes. I appreciate Delegate Bowling bringing forth. Yeah, I had no idea that the board makeup was so different than so many other higher education centers. It seems like that's something that we probably should have changed a long time ago, quite frankly. So I'm glad to see that happen. I think the new name change, just living here in the community, is a positive step. And so I'm just hoping it's a good fresh start for the West Piedmont Higher Education Center. I almost said NCI. Not that all things have been bad either. That's not what I'm saying, but I do think it's just a good new step, and I'm excited to be a part of it at this time as we look forward to moving the organization forward.
Thank you. And we've had multiple discussions, and your ideas and I think energy would be welcome as well. So thank you both to Delegate Cole and Delegate Phillips for your opening comments. I'll get into a few statements. One of the things I wanted to note, we're going to have a little bit of a change in the agenda. I did want to pay homage to someone that we have with us today. We do have Deputy Attorney General for Health, Education, and Social Services, Allison Tissinger, with us today. She'll be walking us through some information. She has limited time with us today. So after I give a brief update on the chair's report, I would ask the board that we go, we're going to move to go into closed session after that report, after I make a few brief comments, so we can respectively make the most use of her time. I know you have a tight schedule today, Ms. Tissinger. We want to respect that. So with the comments that were made earlier by Delegate Phillips, we will on July the 1st have a new name for this institution, the West Piedmont Higher Education Center. I think that name in itself brings clarity to what it is we are. With the three-tiered education structure that the Commonwealth of Virginia has, living in Maryland, witnessing, not saying that Maryland doesn't have as strong, but Maryland does not have the three-tiered structure. They do have the community colleges. They do have the four-year institutions. They do not have a higher ed institution layer. So really clearly stating what this is, I think it'll clear some of the fog that's been in the community for a while, and gives really the direction around that. So you'll hear some thoughts today on a new direction as far as logo, a new direction as far as how to speak to that logo, given by Valerie here. So want to just talk to that. Also, I think it's very important that to note that with this bill, and wanted to thank Delegate Bowling and LaVere Bowling and Senator Srinivasan for sponsoring that. And I think Delegate Phillips, you had some input and
Co-patron.
co-patron on it as well.
Right.
So it's a collective effort, right? I think seeing a collective effort from Delegate LaVere Bowling, Delegate Phillips, and Senator Srinivasan, bringing that to the table to really reconstruct, how the board and make sure that we're in alignment so that we're in comparison to other higher ed centers, we're compared with similar structures. What that means moving forward is we're adding 5 universities at the president level or their designees to the board, bringing on George Mason, bringing on Virginia State University, also our current partner, Longwood, but up in their support to the board from a Longwood University perspective, Virginia Tech and Radford. So coverage across the state, right? I think, you have a Central Virginia component, you have Northern Virginia component, and you have Radford, Virginia Tech covering Western. So with that, it gives us an opportunity. One of the analogies I use that usually brings a giggle to people. It's like, I think, Joe, sometimes you were knocking on the door at Thanksgiving, right? Interrupting a dinner, but now we can all eat and give thanks together and think and ideate together. So that will be a tremendous opportunity for us and for the region to take advantage of that. So it was our legislators did the hard work, and I really appreciate that. And that's the key, I think, about having legislators on the board. You all heard from the community, saw the need, and used that as an opportunity to actually create legislation to act upon. I also think it's a great use case. If anybody has a government class that wants to see how something can go from ideation to actual legislation to actual action, and then the governor actually signing it. We were talking about this at a meeting last November. We had some ideas about what this could be. Those ideas were heard, and now we have a 2B, which with that, though, the work is not done. We have to prioritize the effort, something that the community, something that legislative leaders have been asking for, strategic plan that'll be due August of 2027. So Joe, I know you'll talk to that. You received guidance from that, but it also brings together other strategic partners. We will have, they've talked about statistics and metrics where we'll have Chev on the board, somebody that represents the statistics and the metrics for the state. So we will have also want to make sure we have the partnership at the community college level. So the chancellor or their designee from the Virginia Community College system will be on the board as well. And then also as an ex officio member, Patrick and Henry, Greg Hodges will have a seat on the board as well. So from statewide representation, bringing all of those folks together to have fruitful conversation, that is something that I think is a positive. And like I said, later, we just came out of the communications committee meeting. I'm thanking Valerie and Delegate LaVere Bowling again for the outstanding work that you've done on the logo. There's a story behind that, story behind our brand. Brand different, show up different, and kind of represent this region differently is kind of what we're looking for. So more to come on that, more discussion. But now, as I end my chair's report, also I'd just like to say thank you to a lot of people here. As some of you found out, I was pursuing my dissertation, a lot of the times through this. One of the things in my dissertation, I dedicated a portion of that to Martinsville, Henry County, the area that I grew up in. And I was inspired actually to start that program by the people here, right? Academia, I didn't come to this board with the mindset that I was going to be an academic. I came to this board, my mindset was to bring cloud computing, AI, cybersecurity, all the things that I'm very, very comfortable with. This board allowed me to step out of my comfort zone. I was not an academic, but I hope you all continue to inspire because you inspired me. So with that, I'll close my chair's report, and now I'll ask our deputy chair to take us into closed session.
I move that the Board of Directors convene in closed session pursuant to 2.2-3711A1 for discussion of the assignment appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the public body. 2.2-3711A7 for consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body. 2.2-3711A8 for consultation with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel, and that legal counsel and NCI staff members remain in closed session whose presence will aid the board in its discussion. The motion requires a second and a vote.
Second.
I have to have a motion and a vote. So.
I'll make a motion that we.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And
All
I
right.
second her motion. How about that? We're gonna get it right in a minute.
We'll figure it out.
You guys might want to specify which staff you want to stay.
For this particular conversation, we will not have any staff stay at the beginning. And then I think we will bring Joe back at a point in time. So Joe, stay close. But beginning, we're gonna be talking to personnel.
And give us 1 minute to make it work on YouTube, and I'll let you know when we got
Should I
that.
look at text?
I'll pop my head back in, so we're still live streaming at the moment.
Could we mute maybe?
We gotta move people in breakout rooms. If we mute, then they'll get told.
Oh, right. Okay.
Sorry.
You are right.
That's crazy with all these, when you have all the mics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're waiting, I'd like to give Eric a.
Yeah.
Yay, congratulations.
When was it conferred?
So I defended on April 23rd,
Okay.
and then I
Awesome.
graduated on the 16th.
That's awesome.
So
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
talked about something near and dear to our heart, traffic congestion in the Commonwealth. Stakeholder perceptions of Commonwealth. So title was Interconnected for Growth of Gridlock.
Mhm.
Say that again?
Interconnected for Growth of Gridlock. So
Okay.
it was a stakeholder, it was a qualitative study of stakeholder perspectives on Virginia's transportation system. So that
Okay, 9. Whereas the Board of Directors of the New College Institute convened in closed session on June 4th, 2026 pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Virginia Code 2.2-3712 requires a certification by this Board of Directors that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now be it resolved that the Board of Directors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under Virginia law, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting of the Board of Directors. To certify, please answer yes or no when your name is called. Dr. Mark Crabtree.
Yes.
Delegate Nicole Cole. Okay, yeah, I'll come back. Valerie Crummy,
Yes.
Stacy Gordon,
Yes.
Eric Jones,
Yes.
Kevin Lane,
Yes.
Delegate Lavere Bowling,
Yes.
Ashley Lockhart, yes. Michael Lunsgard,
Yes.
Delegate Phillips,
Yes.
Lee Perliman,
Yes.
Marcus Stone,
Yes.
and then back to Delegate Cole. She must have stepped away. Okay. Now I need an action by the board, so I need a motion and I need a second.
So moved.
That's it.
Was there any action to be taken by the board, Eric?
No.
No.
Yeah, okay.
After the roll call, then we're out.
So that closes, got,
Mhm.
we're back in open session. So following our agenda, we will move through. We'll now have our executive director's report by Mr. Joe Summer.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get it.
I think copies of this are in there.
You should have a physical copy and then we'll put it on the screen. We'll start with a mission spotlight. We always like to highlight different team members, different programs here. Thought it was very appropriate to highlight the Longwood class of 2026. This is the first class that includes the Grow Your Own graduates. That is a program that was a grant-funded program that included Longwood, various K-12 entities that allowed an accelerated path for paraprofessionals and those within the educational sector to reach the completion of their degree so that they could become certified teachers. This graduating class included 13. And again, it's incredible if you are ever in the area and you receive an invitation to attend, whether it's Longwood or our criminal justice graduations. This is what we do for our partners. You know, we work through the trainings, we work through the education, and to see it all come to fruition here. And then, you know, these 13 individuals you see here, they're in the classrooms. These are the individuals that are teaching our students. So, you know, these individuals, they're retaining. The retention rates for these graduates are exceeding the national average by far. So we are proud of this program. We are proud of what Dr. Randall has done. Coincidentally, it was Dr. Randall's last graduation ceremony. So we want to make sure that we pointed that out and the incredible partner and ally that she has been and that Longwood has been throughout my time here and even preceding me. There you see a list of the upcoming reports that the agency is required to submit, and we are on track. There are several there. You can see we're still awaiting announcements as far as dates. However, we do have historical data, so we have generalized ideas of when they will be due. Everything is on track, and there's no known reason why any of these would not meet the submission deadlines.
Joe.
Yes, sir.
Could you explain the updated strategic plan and your engagement with the Secretary of Education, if you've had engagement so far, and if you need the board to help? Because I think what this deliverable is something, and they used that date for August 2027. What specifically?
So let me clarify that for you. Where you see the DPB/Secretary of Ed, that is a report that is labeled as a strategic plan. Essentially, it's a data submission. We have to submit essentially annual data for the different programs each year. So that is not the strategic plan that we speak to as part of the budget language. As far as, sorry. Yeah, in the legislation, excuse me. As far as the strategic plan that you're referring to, we have already begun looking at those partners. We've already been meeting with those partners, several of which we'll highlight on the next page. to include, reach out to potential university partners, new board members. We've met with Dr. Hodges, Dr. Chris Wickstrom at the community college. So we've begun laying the groundwork. Yes, sir.
Okay. I just saw that and I was like, oh, wait. But if you have interactions with the Secretary of Ed, we would want to curate a sit down, because if we can get the template of what they're expecting next year.
Yes, sir.
That would be
Yes,
good. Okay.
Yes, we generally, on occasion, we do get to engage with the Secretary of Ed. This current administration have not yet had that opportunity, but we have engaged with Mr. Connor Andrews and the Deputy Secretary. So our next engagement with him, if he is available, will be June 16th. We have our Higher Ed Center meeting. Generally, once a month, all the Higher Ed Center executive directors and leadership teams will get on a virtual call. If the Secretary of Ed's office has someone available to participate, just to kind of overview things, to give us directive, to align with the administration. The next meeting will not be virtual, it will be in person. And so once a year, generally, we'll take turns hosting it. NCI hosted the last one last year. This next one will be out in Abington. So our team will be traveling out there. I do not have any input or insight on whether Secretary of Ed or Deputy Secretary will be there in person. But I make the assumption at a minimum, just based on historically, that one of them will be available virtually.
I know those, their strategic plans, whatever they develop is available open. If you could use as a form of like collaboration and let them know that we have a strategic plan due, you could maybe before that meeting request that they formally send that to you.
Yes, sir.
Their strategic plan or whatever they have, so I can then get that to the board members. That's something that we would want to see, is kind of like, what do they have, if anything at all? So we can kind of hold up, like, here's the 5 that are out there. We're got to develop something. So using that as a point of collaboration to say, hey, we have this due next year. We would love to see what you have. If you could get that formally from them, then I can distribute it to the board.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Certainly will. Here you see data reporting from Q3 and Q4. I will point out that this is not complete for Q4, obviously us still being within it. So you will see a few of these numbers continue to climb before the end of the fiscal year. A couple of highlights to point out to you. Our first kind of public offering and engagement with Gen Edge was a success. We had about 75 participants representing a combination of manufacturing and technology providers. We essentially partnered with Gen Edge to install an AI supplemented monitoring system on one of our industrial machines in the high bay. And it was able to calculate different things such as utilization of the employee's time, load times, machine times, things that aren't necessarily native to a machine that was developed prior to kind of the Internet of Things and smart technology. This allows us to retrofit it. So we partnered with Gen Edge. Gen Edge purchased material. They compensated us for our time and our machine use. And our team was able to run a product that was essentially, think of a challenge coin for the Virginia Smart Manufacturing Association with their logo. And it was presented to the attendees for this. But during the production of that, we were able to gather all this data and present a business case that they are now using to go on a road show. So we have now become part of the Gen Edge Virginia Smart Manufacturing Accelerators Roadshow as their key partner for this business case. Moving on, the Piedmont Regional Criminal Justice Training Academy. Again, just want to highlight that they are one of, during my time here, they've been one of our longest and strongest partners. And you can see we've done a significant amount with them. Each year it continues to increase. We currently have a graduation coming up. I would really, really encourage all of you, again, if you are available, to please pop in and attend, even if you can't be there for the ceremony. It's always great just to swing by. That'll be held June 13th. We had our last one on May 6th, some of the largest graduations that the Academy has had to date. But beyond the graduations, we have really stepped up our partnership with them in providing those professional development trainings and those certifications. There's a need I've shared with the board before. There's a huge need within law enforcement for required certifications and trainings to be able to progress within the career. Some of them are regulatory and required just to maintain certain compliance. In the past, various agencies have had to travel for this. We are able to partner with Piedmont. Piedmont has connections through all of the local law enforcement throughout the 11 contiguous counties, and they're able to identify those needs. And we're currently already working on next year's schedule. Those trainings have ranged anywhere from 20 to 60 people in each of those trainings, and they range anywhere from 8 to 40 hours. If you have any connections, any needs, any questions within law enforcement, Piedmont Academy does have some statewide networks that they coordinate through. So please bring any of those needs to our attention and we'll connect with them. One example I'll give you is Piedmont is one of only 2 agencies within the state that is authorized to offer animal control officer training. So that's one of those things where if you know, you know, if you don't, you're looking for it, you're Googling it. So we're partnering with them and that's our next big launch will be an animal control officer training that is a hybrid format. Currently, it's only in a standardized face-to-face capacity. And various agencies, because of the travel, because of having to come on location, they put in requests that try to minimize that on-site time. So we're partnering with Piedmont to hybridize and create the virtual lecture components, and then they will arrive on site for the practical piece of that training. Our wind industry training. Our wind industry training continues to maintain. We haven't really seen a lot of growth or a lot of dropping. We have seen a slight change in the type of participants though. We're seeing, for instance, this week, we've got 3 individuals from a contracted security company that's traveling out to the turbines from what they share with us, to install, I guess, kind of like a security camera type device or other types of monitoring. So we've seen a lot of, I like to call them third-party contractors or supplemental members of the offshore wind program. But it continues to move forward. We've had some of our first requests for the wind limited access training. This is a new training that was just launched by GWO last year. And this is kind of a shorter, lighter training for executives, for media personnel, those types that aren't necessarily engaged in working on the turbines every day, but may have a reason or an opportunity or a need to travel to the turbine in some capacity. So we're excited to launch that one with our first iteration coming this summer. You can see there again, just some of the numbers. Our King Hall Testing Center, we are complete with our National College Testing Association accreditation. That was a pretty heavy lift. I want to make sure that I give kudos out to Stacy Davis, to the IT team, to finance. I mean, it took all hands on deck to get a lot of this done. We are now approved, and we're excited. We will start launching that in July. As of now, we have given 791 tests this year out of the King Hall Testing Center. I referenced Longwood earlier. I want to point out our growth with our partnership with Henry County Public Schools. Just in the last 2 weeks, we have secured opportunities to engage with them on programming throughout the summer. You can see the numbers there. We are June 23rd. We are partnering with Henry County Schools to host a multi-part event. It will be focused downstairs on the first floor. The lecture hall will be a Virginia 250 event where students will, there's different partners that are coming in. Piedmont Arts is coming in. They have some resources about the Virginia 250, the United States 250 celebration. They're bringing in some historical reenactors, some that will be in full timepiece, and the students will rotate through and have different experiences. At the halfway point, they're going to swap. On our second floor, the other half of those students will go from room to room and have robotic and STEM experiences. So we're going to have each room set up with various types of STEM activities, learning how to program robots, learning how to put breadboards together for electronics. And then again, at the halfway point, they'll swap. Just on June 23rd, we're going to have approximately 300 elementary school students in this building. 2 days later, on June 25th, we're going to have about 150 middle school students here doing the same thing, minus the Virginia 250 piece. That is only being requested, only being offered for the elementary school students. So within 1 week, we are looking at 450 elementary and middle school students from county schools right here in our building. Starting next week.
Is that open
Yes,
to,
sir.
is that open to board members to come visit?
Please,
shake hands,
absolutely.
kiss?
Anything we do here is always open for board members, and we highly encourage and invite you. Please stop by. Starting next week, for the next 2 weeks, we will be hosting the Henry County Schools Gifted Academy. Very similar setup. The county schools have come to us and asked us to supplement their STEM at the elementary and middle school level, primarily around computer science, programming, and robotics. So we have a couple of individuals who are trained in it. We have all of the technology, the assets. We travel to their location and we set up. So for the next 2 weeks, we will be hosting the Gifted Academy students. And you can see the numbers there. It's around 50 students for total. We've just completed our first year of internships with Henry County Schools, and that was a great experience. And it has worked out so well that we actually hired one of the young men. One of the young men that come to us and wanted an internship within our high bay. He learned how to maintain the machines. He learned how to do preventative and routine maintenance. And then we just coincidentally had a custodial position come open. And he says, look, I've been in the building for the last year. He says, I think this is a place I'd like to be a part of. Can I apply? And absolutely, it's open to anybody. Young man applied, got the job. And we're excited to have him on board. His name is Riley, if you happen to see him around. He is currently enrolled at Patrick and Henry Community College, where he's pursuing industrial maintenance with a specialization in electrical. So who knows what the future holds, but we like the idea of grow your own. So stay tuned. We have dollars and cents that we continue to host with United Way, Franklin County High School exploration, just a couple of things there within the K-12 sector. I do want to hit on Stag's Robotics really quick because this year is a very exciting year. Something unprecedented for our area as far as I'm aware of. I've shared with you in the past, there is a regional competition that is called the Blue Ridge Brawl. This is an off-season competition. So the official season for First Robotics is from January until about mid-April to May, depending on how well you perform through the season. However, in the fall, most groups within a region will get together and put together a regional off-season competition. It's just a way to keep the pipeline going, recruitment, things of that nature. In the past, this has been held in places like Blacksburg, Lynchburg, things of that nature. We were contacted and asked, would we be willing to move that location here to Martinsville? So we have partnered with Henry County Schools, and we have a plan where we will offer the Blue Ridge Brawl competition open to 24 teams. It does give us the opportunity to generate revenue. We will have it at an offsite location. We are not large enough to house it here. The arena itself is the size of a regulation size basketball court. So it's a large event. Like I said, 24 schools, and that will be in October. You'll all get invitations to it. Please, if you're available, come out, check it out. It is unlike, if you've never been involved in competitive robotics, it's unlike anything you've seen, and it is incredible. Just a reminder, this is not a parent-led team. This is not an instructor-led team. I always like to kind of little tongue-in-cheek say, our instructors are there to make sure if the kids show up with 10 fingers, they leave with 10 fingers. The kids design this thing, they build it, they program it, they wire it. It's amazing.
Now, what location are you taking it to?
I've got a partner. We've signed all the paperwork. I don't know if I
In
can.
Martinsville?
Yes,
Okay.
in Martin, in Henry County.
Okay.
In Henry County, yes, ma'am. So everything is finalized, ink is dry. I think we're looking to probably do maybe like a joint announcement, so.
Gotcha.
So would you say that robotics and automation is starting to become a little bit of a brand for us?
Yes, sir, I believe so. And it's an area I'm very comfortable in. It's something that my background is heavily involved in. So I've always looked for the opportunity. It's been difficult to navigate at times, knowing that we don't want to step on any toes of what's already offered or duplicate anything that's there. So we've been operating in the mode of approaching our partners and asking, what do you need? Where do those gaps exist? At the K-12 level, it's been unanimous. It's been within the STEM and automation and robotics. So that's where we've kind of stepped up to the plate for them. Okay. The second one, real quick, I'll share with you out of Stags is another huge thing for us. Every 2 years, there's an event for First Robotics that is, again, an off-season event that happens in West Virginia, and it is open to the entire United States. So it's not a regional, it is a national one. And they invite, I believe, 70, maybe 75 teams. It's very limited throughout the United States. And most of our robotics competitions, you arrive on a Thursday night type thing, you unload Friday, you compete Friday. Sometimes it's a Friday, Saturday, but you'll have 2 days of competing and then a half a day of finals, and then you come home. This competition is different in that this is a competition that once it starts, it is nonstop for 26 hours straight. Teams have to rotate out students, take them back to the hotel for sleep type thing. We were invited to attend this year for the first time ever. We are excited about it. It will happen the last day of July and the first day of August. So our team will be traveling to compete in that. We are still finalizing the details on it. But again, just to be invited to kind of luck out, if you will, to be recognized. Our team has been phenomenal in their performance. We bring home not only the first place trophies from these things, but we bring home the engineering awards. We bring home the quality awards, the safety awards. So those things are noticed within the competitive robotics field. And those are the types of things when they look, they're not always looking for who's first place. They're looking for who's holistic, who's going above and beyond just the competitive piece of it. So excited about that one. If you find yourself in West Virginia, please stop by. Last one, again, I know we have quite a few things left on the agenda here, but I don't want to overlook anything, so feel free to ask me to dig in deeper and happy to do so. But you see there are economic and community development work that we've been doing. We recently have the Silver Workforce Solutions Summit, had 120 participants. The Martin Luther King breakfast that was held in the spring. Minority Business Consortium, we've been.
Joe,
Yes, sir.
second bullet.
Second bullet.
Federal Reserve. Bank
Yes.
Chair, what is that?
So back in the spring, the Chamber of Commerce and several other entities came to us and said, we are looking for an opportunity to bring somebody from the state level here, something a little different, something involving economics, something involving economic development, really that fiscal piece, and really want somebody that can give some insight and maybe some authority, speak with it with authority. And so the chamber was able, through their connections, to secure the chair of the Federal Reserve Bank out of Richmond. We hosted that here. It was invite only, and Phillips, I think you were there, correct? Or maybe you popped in or something?
Honestly, it's hard to remember. I got
think-
so
I
many
think you
things, but
popped
it
in,
sounds
yeah.
right.
But it was a great opportunity to ask some of those questions. And what I really appreciated about it was the Fed chair at the beginning, he says, nothing's off limits. He says, if you ask, I'm going to answer it the best I can. He says, you may not like the answer, but ask me the hard questions. And there were some tough questions that were asked, and got a lot of great feedback from them.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Coming up, we have the Juneteenth Gospel Celebration, as well as for the first year since my time, and I'm not quite sure how many years, but the Fayette Area Historical Initiative is launching the return of the June German Ball. And they're going to host it right here in the Baldwin Building, and that is taking place June 27th. One thing that's not on there also, before it slips my mind, going back to the K-12, tomorrow night, NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers, they have their annual awards and end of year programming. It starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. We do have a table. We have 6 seats available. If anyone is interested and would like to attend, please let me know. Would love to have you join us. I always attend every year. Again, it's the graduations, the award ceremonies. There are scholarships given out. This is what it's all about for us. That completion, that seeing that student reach that goal and figuring out what's that next chapter look like.
Sure. And then
Yes, sir.
maybe I missed it in there, but the Gen Edge, they also held some sort of event here because I did come to that. What was that?
Yes, sir.
Is that the very first one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. I thought you were talking about going on the road with them other places, but gotcha. Never
Yes, sir.
mind.
They invited, they asked, invited. The reality is that's a lot of time on the road. They have a team that's hired and
Gotcha.
designed for the road. I can't necessarily be on the road every day with them. So those that are in close proximity, I will attend with them. But some of them, way up in Nova and stuff
Sure,
like that,
sure.
I can't make it for those. I think that's it.
Oh,
Okay,
let's get
there we go.
started.
There we go. So our upcoming projects, quite a bit you see here. Of course, finishing the implementation, the name change and rebranding. A lot of that is kind of waiting on today's approval and stuff. So once that's done, we have plans in place. We've done our inventory of branding of assets and what will need to be done. We are working to wrap up year-end spending and reporting. You'll hear more about that from the finance report out. I mentioned earlier the NCTA testing accreditation. So we have some furniture that's coming in. We have to move a security camera to a better location, but that will all be wrapped by the end of July. And then continuing to improve this partnership model. We've had great success. How do we keep it going? We don't want to lose the steam. We don't want to lose the fire. So just keeping that momentum going. And then moving forward, taking that momentum and those successes that I've shared here with you and identifying how does that fit into the strategic plan. We know where our strong performances are. We know where our partners are. And then also once we identify that, that allows us to identify those areas for growth and the gaps that exist for us to operate. So the prior slide and this slide will strongly influence the approach to the strategic plan that I will present to you all as far as where we believe our strength and our opportunities lie moving forward.
Joe,
yes, sir.
on the strategic plan, one of the things that we discussed is the executive committee is going to work with you to put together a comprehensive review plan. So, how the outline gets developed, what are the review checkpoints, in accordance with our meetings, and then we'll be distributing that out to the board. I also have a few people that have reached out, volunteer support who act as, high-level proposal managers, both state, local, and federal proposal management to help manage the actual content and book vaults and make sure the documents are there. So the executive committee will be working on with you, but the expectation is that at various checkpoints, we'll be looking at review and then way prior to with the schedule, we want to be able to have that community input and review, but also review with who is the final designator, so they can give us comments before the due date.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir. And thank you. I welcome all the resources that, yes, absolutely. A couple other things you see there. In the first quarter of FY 27, we will look to bring on a new chief program officer and executive to oversee programming. And then in August, we are partnering with WOMAC and Gen Edge to host a robotics in motion event. This is it's about a 3/4 day event, kind of morning to mid-afternoon type thing. We have WOMAC Electric, who provides automation and robotics to our region, and Gen Edge, who has the kind of the experts behind the scenes. And there will be various robots that we place throughout our facility on that day. The first part of the day will be kind of a sit and learn. These are the various ones that are available. Here's what the capabilities of each are. The latter part of the day will be training for those that have those types of robots within their facilities. I'll go ahead and share here. We'll have multiple robots set up in the lecture hall, but then there's also one of the robots that is too large to fit through the entryway of the lecture hall. So it will be set up in our high bay. I'll even give a little preview. We're still figuring out who's got to get the alcohol license, but there will be a robot bartender. So we are navigating that, but that has been confirmed. So excited about that. Again, kind of same song I've been singing. If you happen to be around on that day, please pop in. We have those details and we'll send them out in an email as far as the specific dates and times for it. We are working on a very large event with Gen Edge for October. October is the Manufacturing Appreciation Month. We're also, the Chamber has also joined that partnership. So more on that to come, but this will be a large, shooting for 200 to 250 participants. But this will be an event that will focus on manufacturers, both highlighting the history of manufacturing, kind of the wins and champions of manufacturing in our region, but then also there will be an opportunity to hear from folks about what manufacturing looks like moving forward and how do we prepare workforce, technology, and the region as a whole to support where manufacturing is going. And then the last one, as I mentioned, was the development of the Stags Blue Ridge Brawl. We are unsure if it will stay with that name. We don't know. We're still working out, is that a trademark name? Will we maybe look for something that's a little more, gives us a little more kind of a wink wink to Martinsville, Henry County. But that's the one that I spoke of earlier, where we will be hosting it here within Henry County, and invite all of you to please attend if you're available. All right. Any
I would
questions?
just ask, great stuff happening. Absolutely great stuff. And, you invite us to come and we'd love to come to some of them. But do you have a calendar or something where, don't create a new wheel, but if there's one that we can just know, what's open for us and the dates and times? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, I would also say, just to add to that, just out of something that I think will help the board is one, with all the things, this was kind of like Q3 and Q4. If you could put together a end of the fiscal year infographic.
Yes.
Like the numbers of increased of that kind of thing that we posted both digitally, but also mailed to members of the board.
Yes, sir.
Physical mail, right?
Yes, sir.
Then also a trifold that with all that's the stuff there. Because I think one of the things that we members of the board have struggled with is what is actually going on. So I want to make sure that we have in our pocket, because we're going to have new members of the board joining us. We're going to be out in the community. We have people with visibility out in the community. So a trifold that'll be available, one that's mailed to each board member to have, to carry around with them would be helpful. So that's also a physical mailing and also posted. So if there's any general fund resources that could be provided to board members and incoming board members, those schools and universities, that infographic and that trifold, so they can fold it up and that university president or their designee can come in with something in hand. But I know we don't usually do physical things, but the request has been to have something in their pocket. So I want to get something to the board members about what happened this year in the pockets of board members, so they can have that when they carry it around. I think Lee had an example.
That's what I was saying.
What you had?
Show it.
Always got to carry a couple of trifolds around. Just.
Yeah,
Simple
just
thing.
want to make sure we have a visual of what it is. So
Yes, sir.
great information, but we just need to get it in the
Yeah.
pockets of our members.
Summary.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
this would be
sir.
like a mini annual report, which we already produced.
Yeah, just,
Okay.
just a,
Yep.
you know, but the
Maybe,
infographic is
maybe.
maybe something
Very
different
Yeah.
that kind of quantifies
Very
what's been
high
going
level,
on,
so.
high level. So that's on the site, so we can point people to it to show growth, you know, what decreased, what increased, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I would just like to, going back to the first slide that you showed on, not the budget slide, it's the, on your reporting slide.
This one?
Next one. Yeah, on that one. It's kind of hard to read it. Is there a way to maybe break it in? What I'm seeing are the, at least three of the four areas that we're moving into with workforce, academics. Maybe they really need their own slide, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then in there, you know, to a point that was made, you talked about a lot of growth. I would like to see the numbers, like the metrics. If we are up 6%, down 2%, whatever, just over previous year or however those classes are quantified, I think that would be helpful for us to kind of see all the great work in action on data, with the data.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
And in the budget too, you know, what the Gen Edge is bringing in and all the testing is bringing in, you know, line items would be great to see in here, because it's not in here.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, the budget that you have will be the expenditure of general funds
Yeah.
as well as the carryover from any non-general that was generated from the year before. So that's why you don't see the breakout of, here's what testing center, it's just a lump sum that we brought up, but I can.
Yeah,
break
but
that
if we
out for
could
you.
see the
Yes, ma'am.
breakdown, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it's the grant, it's the lump fund,
Yes,
or
ma'am.
lump sum, but we would like to see the breakdown.
Yes, ma'am,
for-
absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, sir. And, you know, to newer board members and, I guess just a reminder to existing board members, I realize that I have a pretty rapid fire cadence when I go to present. So if there's any desire to drill down further, just let me know and I'll make myself available at your convenience.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that, you know, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
All right. On to our FY26 financial update. Joanne or Kristen?
I'll be presenting the 2026 budget. Christine will be presenting 27.
Okay.
So we'll go over the summary sheet. We have a one-page summary first, and then the detail follows it. In the majority of the categories, we are currently under budget. The only one that we're over on is travel, and that's because we had some additional travel that wasn't anticipated for stags going to additional championships, employees having professional development opportunities and so forth. We are a little under budget in payroll on this budget. That's because in April, we only have one pay check, but in May we'll have three. So that will balance out before the end of the fiscal year. We also had some vacant positions. We are on track. We have all the funds utilized by the end of the fiscal year. Is there any specific questions?
That was the top page.
Correct.
This shows the variances.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Any questions from the board?
Are there any questions? Christine?
Okay. The fiscal year 27, first, let me thank Joanne. I want to commend her for this year. She took on the budget for the fiscal year 26. She's managed it. She produced it. She's done a wonderful job. So thank you. So fiscal year 27 budget, we have prepared. Kind of want to go over a few things. The Commonwealth does not have an approved budget as of today. We're presenting the 27 budget based on the same appropriated amount as fiscal year 26. If any,
Want to go back, just a request, someone had made. Could you walk us really quick, the budget process? We don't bottom up and then present. Could you just walk us through what we're waiting on and then keep going? I just want to make sure everybody understands the budget process.
Okay,
Yep.
so we're entering the biennium budget. So what was presented in January with the legislators, they create the budget in their each house, each house's appropriation budget. And what we are waiting on now is for them to come to a final agreement to present to the governor for approval. So all legislation has occurred and the governor's already done all of her work on the bills. So the only thing that is remaining that I'm aware of is the budget. And legislators, you all go back the 22nd.
18th. Senate goes back to 22nd.
So that's where we are. You all may want to speak more on it than me, on likelihood of us having a budget by year end.
I think we'll have one. We'll have a budget. I'm hearing.
We will have a budget. We will have a budget by June 30.
Yeah.
Are we
We'll have
going
to-
to get the extra?
It is my hope that we will get the funds that we requested in the budget, the additional funds. It's my hope. I have relayed that hope as the conferees are negotiating. Now that they're having conversation. So we will see. I will keep making calls until the 18th.
Thank you.
So we're being proactive. We, have this scheduled meeting. We want to go ahead and present our 27 budget. If anything is to change when the Commonwealth's budget is finalized, we will bring a revision back for final approval by either the executive committee or the full board. If by chance a budget is not approved by 6:30, then we will follow the Commonwealth's guidance on what to do. Typically, it is only critical expenses until something is finalized. So this budget was prepared in a zero-based budgeting method. So finance first created a base budget capturing all of the recurring costs that are the must-haves to continue the operations of NCI. So basically that kind of includes all staff and then building expenses. Finance worked with the executive director to identify position needs and additional needs outside of the base budget by department. So just to note, revenue, the general fund appropriation holds the appropriated amount and the maintenance reserve monies. So we've got the 3.1 million. 83 is central appropriated adjustments that the Commonwealth does for any kind of premium increases, that sort of thing. So it's a culmination. It'll roll up into the 3.1 when we go into fiscal year 27, but we wanted to present it as is currently. We are anticipating maintenance reserve to be used for 140,000 for the upcoming year. It could be less, it could be more, depending on if we're able to get the capital projects up and going. And then we are proposing non-general fund usage of 243,000. The 243,000 non-general is in non-general, not general. The current balance of non-general fund is 813,000. It's a 30% usage of the non-general funds. In current fiscal year 2016, currently as of today, in non-general fund revenue, we've received 387,000. That includes rental income, GWO revenue, events revenue. So we are under what we brought in this current fiscal year, using it for fiscal year 27. Does that make sense? Okay. I won't go line by line, but kind of talking about it in terms of departments. The way that we structured it with the base budget, general funds, our personnel services, which is coming in at 2.5 million. Maintenance and utilities for the building at 448,000. And then the continued leases of 198,000. The non-general fund revenues that we're proposing to use as expenses will be IT will be designated about 29,000, events and cleaning about 19,000, marketing and rebranding is 63,000, academic is 61.5, and that's where it holds STAGs, NESB, and our EduTech program. Workforce is getting 31,800 to continue, and then testing center at 5,000. So what you see going down are the categories that we use for finance, contractual services, supplies, continuous charges. And what I just kind of went over is the programs departments, how it made up this.
Part of the process, how much communication is there with the state on the 7 budget? Does it go to Department of Education,
No, sir.
or we get a number and then we deal with it locally?
Yes, sir. It goes to the board. We get an appropriation and it goes to the board. Now, I will have to detail out what our budget is in our DPB, Department of Planning and Budget system. The state will know then what our budget is like, but they do not dictate that.
So
So, thank you for this. This is really great. The general fund increase, we're accounting for the addition of staffing positions or no?
Staffing, the addition of positions is going to be one full-time that Joe mentioned,
Mhm.
and I believe one part-time. I think.
The, the positions, you mentioned the additional general funds that we're requesting. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, the increase in the appropriated amount.
Yes, ma'am.
That is including the staffing position.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's one full-time and then what else do we have?
It was, there's a full-time position.
That's the program
Yes, ma'am.
one, right?
Number?
There was, excuse me, there's a part-time position, for a, grant support, grant resource type thing. I'm trying to think, it's been a while, Doug. I'm trying to think back to the details of it.
Okay.
But those were the primary personnel requests.
Okay, great. I would love to know the additional ones.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to. We're getting into a new phase of NCI and we gotta make sure all our ducks are in a row. So I'm seeing from the report what you were just saying, we have less revenue coming in. Is that what I heard-ish?
The
No?
revenue that we have brought
What-
in
what
this year,
dropped? Yeah, I'm sorry.
we brought in currently 387,000.
Non-general.
for FY
It's from
26.
From the
non-general.
non-general, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. And we are proposing to use less than that, 243,000.
That's the 243.
Mhm.
Okay.
But the overall balance of non-general is 830,
813.
and that's been on a steady clip of growth
Yes,
year over year.
yes.
So that's probably would be helpful, like what is the year over year growth from?
We can do a historical chart of that. Typically, we have not gone into non-general funds.
Correct.
The only time
Yeah.
it gets used is usually in and out. You know,
Yeah.
we take
Right.
it out and then we get it reimbursed back in.
Yeah.
So this will be, this is generally like the first year that we'll be really tapping into non-general funds.
Right, and also I think one of the things that was tracking that the revenue generation, that was a
Right.
big topic.
Yes.
So it would be good to know like, hey, over the last 3 years, since we kind of got that edict to say, hey, focus on revenue generating, that's when you brought the testing center in.
Yes.
How much has that increased our revenue year over year, from that perspective? And then I guess the difference in that is like, whatever we're spending out of that, non-general has like a profit margin associated
Right,
with it,
yes.
right? That we're carrying over. We're carrying over that profit to kind
Yes.
of cover. Okay.
Yeah, so a good example of that would be, I mentioned like the criminal justice trainings. We pay the expert, bring them in, and there are paid fees to participate in the training, generates the profit,
Yeah.
goes back into it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just think that's an interesting metric that'll feed the strategic plan to have like, hey, we started here
Mhm.
from a non-general perspective. The general funds is coming in, that's what we request. But on your own, what you have projected,
Yes.
and then if you have plans, tying that to say, hey, these 2 programs that we intend to bring in could potentially increase our year over year growth from both a revenue, it would be revenue perspective this much. Currently, we've increased it by these initial pilot programs, let's call them. From this point to this point, that's the testing center. If we add these things, because then I think that's things that we could take to the community and further our case on why we need sometimes seed money,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Because if somebody could provide you seed money through our foundation or whatever, then that money could be no cost to you. But right now, to seed every program, you have to dip back into non-general funds
Yes, sir.
to pay for, so that cuts in your margin.
Yes, sir.
So the outside of the margin, if you could get seed money, now everything is profit from that perspective, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Your profit margin increases. It won't be a total, you got to use some of that money, but that's the way I'm thinking about it,
Yes.
right? What has been the year-over-year growth through the implementation of programs here that you've particularly put in place? And what does that growth trend look like?
Okay.
Because I think probably a year ago or 2 years ago, that 387 per year, you were asked to grow that. I want to prove the hypothesis that you did or didn't.
Yes, sir.
And I think you've done that.
Yes, sir, we have. Yes, sir.
So just go back until the term of Joe's beginning of his tenure.
I think 2 years would be
2
the
years.
best. Just to see. I just want to capture that year over year
I mean, we can go back as far, I've got charts.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah,
Love
yeah,
charts.
I know you do. Yeah, it's just a point.
Yeah, because the goal, right, is to become self-sufficient so that there would be no general funds requested every year, that the programs themselves would pay for all of the,
We would still have a state appropriation
Yeah.
of 3 million.
yeah, but the
Yeah.
goal is to not have state appropriation, right? Like that, isn't that the goal, is to be like so self-sufficient that the programs pay for themselves and everything else wouldn't?
Well, I think
That's
we would always receive, every state institution will receive a state appropriation. It's just that I think that underlying non-general funds, the state initially was looking that's the seed. They were saying our 3 million is the seed. What are you doing with that? So if you've been growing the non-general funds, but then at the same time, we've been petitioning to the state that you also need to grow the seed, right? So the 3.1 is not enough compared to what others are doing. So it's an inverse, it's a correlation between your investment and the non-general fund growing.
Yes.
Right. So I think that we're saying the same thing, but 3.1 has allowed us to grow the non-general funds. What could we do with 6.1? That's what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
yes. Yes, and I don't want to venture too far off course into territory we shouldn't, but I'll share also that, especially for newer board members, the utilization of non-general funds as seed money, some of that precedent was set for our lack of a supporting foundation nonprofit fund. So that's how we've kind of made it through some of those situations just now. Ultimately, we would look to be a combination of increased appropriations, operating with a seed fund that is either supported by a non-general, that is seed money, that is turning we have kind of it's not in policy and procedure, but it is on the list to be put into policy and procedure, would generally operate on a 30% profit margin. Again, if the board has guidance on that, would like to change that, but that's just kind of the general rule of thumb, is the 30% markup on our offerings. But the goal would be to get it to where we have an increase in appropriations for those critical costs, so that we don't have to rely on anything outside of that, just for personnel and building. And then we have these seed funds that are a combination of partner donations through the foundations, and then the non-general funds would be used in a way that only is used for seed money that can be returned with a 30% margin.
Right. And part of your request to legislators was that, I think what Delegate LaVille-Bolin needs is grants a part of your request, right? Because in here we see 0 for grants coming in. So if grants start to supplement the baseline, now that's an additional thing that funds you, that you don't have to go to non-general funds, right?
Right.
Grants.
Well, for matching funds, I cannot use the state appropriation.
Gotcha.
So part of what you see there, like that non-general fund brought forward, that includes 25,000 that's earmarked for any type of matching funds that might not can use state funds. So.
Yeah, we went around the mulberry bush, which is fine. So the math is not mathing for me, and maybe because I don't know, it's just not mathing for me today. So we have things we're adding. I'm not sure that, to the conversation that I think we just had, we're not having revenue specifically tied to the things that we want to add. And I think it's going to put us in a bad position. And it is concerning on the fiscal responsibility side of things, when we have a report due next year, what what we are doing financially. And I think it is very important that we all are careful in that. It is correct that the state is going to give money, but we have asked for more money. We have asked for a change of brand. And I think doing a lot too soon can be a lot. Particularly when we're not having grant funds, when we're dipping into non-general, having to dip into non-general funds for things, adding new positions. The math ain't mathing, and I think we might need to rethink some things.
That's fine. I will share that, again, part of this was developed under, I don't know if the word is directive or guidance of prior administration. You take your non-general, you seed it, you basically sell tickets, make your money back. So that's part of why we have structured it in that way. But moving forward, yes, ma'am, we will certainly reevaluate that.
I think maybe one thing that might help is if we come up with kind of an annual process. It seems like we're kind of feels like we're out of step.
Mhm.
If you ask me. I mean, I'm on the finance committee, but I haven't seen the budget and we're bringing the budget forward. Even though I know the total dollars is set by the state, that's fine. But it seems like it should come through finance. We should have a detailed discussion about it. It should go to executive committee because this is pretty important, how we allocate the funding. And it kind of feels like it's getting thrown on us without the normal process of due diligence that we would have opportunity to really pick it apart.
And in the detail, that goes back to I think that if we saw the detail of the revenue, that would have answered a lot of questions.
Okay, that's fine.
My question is, how can we approve a budget? We don't know what the budget is yet.
Yes, sir. And that's part of why we didn't do that.
Welcome to every school system in every county and city in the
Everywhere.
Commonwealth, my friend. That's why we, hopefully get our work done real soon here. So that's not uncommon at the moment. Most people are going off either the old governor's proposed budget, which was conservative supposedly, or the last year's budget. They have to do something. There are also requirements on a lot of these counties and cities to have theirs done before we really need to change that. Why they have to have theirs done before we have ours done, I'll never understand, but they do. So it's government, so it doesn't always make sense.
The point that we're at now, which is what you mentioned about the process, what is the next step then? I mean, we need to approve it, or we need to get questions answered, or what do we need to do? At this
And
point?
I have one question to what you said about previous administration as far as what, and it could have been other conversations or whatever, but I do remember distinctly being in this room, the governor sitting right there and I was sitting right beside of him. And I do remember he was a business guy. So what I took from that is, hey, generate more of your own revenue, regardless of your appropriation, like don't give away everything. I think that was what I heard. Cause at the time he was like, okay, well, what are you charging for this? And if I remember, it was like nothing. He was like, well, why not? I mean, like, what are we charging for this? What are we charging for this? So it sounds like we're charging now,
Yes.
which is a good thing.
Yes.
And I think what I'm hearing from our board is show us what we're charging on each unique item, each line, how we're profiting on each one. Give us that detail and breakdown a little more inside so we can see what we're really doing. But I don't know that I'm hearing we have differing opinions on that. I still think we should be doing that, frankly. I don't think we should just give away everything. I think we should get a return on the state's investment. I think that's a positive thing, right? I just wanted to make sure I was hearing all this correctly.
Since I've been here, we've grown the non-general through programming. Last year it came in at 337. I think seeing a year-over-year growth of that is important, just at a summation level, right? But that's just one pot.
Yeah.
Right, that's just the non-general.
I just was
fund.
clarifying, like, I'm good with it. I just want to make sure I was.
But I think the next step to what Christina has done is presented us with, hey, here's the budget and here's how we're gonna allocate leveraging what we know the budget could be, right? And we have to make a decision today to approve her proposal on what the budget could be. But if we get an upper in the budget, or if it decreases, right, we would have to reconvene as an executive committee to make adjustments to that, which would allow us to make adjustments to this. I think one of the things that I spoke to you about, Mr. Proman, was in the budget and the finance piece, the committee generally was tracking execution. The budget planning piece was always left to the institution. The budget plan was presented to the board reviewed. I think what you're proposing is the finance committee be a part of the planning and building out a plan throughout the year to get to this point.
Yes, sir.
And that's just something we hadn't done to this point.
Yeah, and it just gives leadership an opportunity to have somebody kind of
Yes, sir.
in your corner with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Would greatly welcome that. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a little bit on the, following along with Delegate Bowling. I think this process that we've gone through to have our strategic plan, we need to be pretty clear about what we're asking for extra money for. Was that kind of a summary of what you were saying? And that's kind of where I was. What are we asking for extra funding for? And it's not been made clear to me.
Could you guys pull up the budget request that you sent in to
This doesn't.
DPD?
So I'm confused on what we're really asking, like what you're looking for. Because I thought this budget was the same 3.1.
It is. Like
Yeah.
what?
She said that
The budget request was the same 3.1. We didn't ask.
zero budget.
Now, Delegate Lavere Bowling
Additional
put in a
money.
budget
Okay.
amendment, as did Senator Srini Lawson, but as the Senate budget stands and the House budget stands, we are fully funded for 3.1 million as we have been. I think the House might have rounded up to 3.2, but there's
Negligible difference.
no
Okay.
other differences.
To ask for that extra money, though, we need to really have a real
No, but
good
it's not
case for
right.
it. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And we did have a lot of detail that Delegate Lavere Bowling submitted to the House appropriations for student support services positions and renovations to the high bay, that kind of thing. It was specified. But this budget does not reflect any
Reflect that.
additional.
Right.
This only reflects our current appropriation. And, you know, we can talk general fund, non-general, but the bottom of it is our appropriation only will cover mainly personnel salaries, you know, wages, salaries for personnel costs and building facilities costs. That's it. Anything above that, you're gonna have to tap into non-general funds. The increase in utility costs, the increase in hourly, wage amount, that affects us with all of our positions, all of our part-time. In addition, any contractors that we use, all of their hourly rates went up. So we're struggling with our facility, just managing this building. And then we have maintenance reserve, but keep in mind, maintenance reserve has a restriction of projects have to be over 25,000. So we've had some things that happened that, we had a storm come through and it blew part of this roof off. Well, it's only gonna cost 9,000, so you've got, it doesn't qualify for maintenance reserve. We do try to target things that are very similar, so that if it's in the same project, we pull them together to try to get the maintenance reserve funds. So we're being very strategic in our process of thinking about uses of funds. I know I'm not answering your questions because this is not a strategic budget as far as planning for the future. This is our base budget.
Sure, operate.
Operating.
So,
budget.
Mr.
Yep.
Chair, how do we get to a motion here?
So.
I think we conflated several different things, and I think
Yeah.
it's a good discussion,
Yeah.
because I feel better. I think we were talking a lot about non-general and what's going into that,
Yeah.
how we're generating revenue. I do think it ought to be split up a little more. I do think we need to see more of it. But what I'm looking at here is we got to keep the lights on, we got to keep a roof on the building, we got to pay our people.
There you go.
And that's what this budget is.
And so I'll entertain a motion for the approval.
I'll
of
make
that
one.
budget.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the budget as read.
Any discussion? So it's been moved and properly second with no discussion that we'll approve the FY 27 budget. Pending passage of the Virginia budget. All in favor, vote by the side of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you. Olivia, approval of the bylaws change.
Yep, Adam drafted it if you want chance to.
Adam.
It's in your.
Yes. Yeah, so the bylaws that you all received, they're identical to NCI's bylaws. The only changes NCI's name, and these would become effective July 1st to correspond with the code change. And so any motion made to adopt these would be to adopt them effective July 1st.
Chairman, I make a motion we approve the changes to the bylaws as proposed to be effective July 1st of this year.
Second. So we're moving probably second that we approve the West Piedmont Higher Education Center bylaws that will go in effect on July 1st. With the proper adjustments to the bylaws that have been made in the document. Any discussion? All approve, vote by the sign of aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes. Olivia, proposed FY 27 board meeting dates.
Oh, we're gonna skip over.
Oh, no, the brand, sorry about that.
Stretch a little bit. Everybody doing good? This is the last little piece here. All right. All right. Okay, all right, so I do, if you don't mind, I
Go
understand
ahead.
it. Yeah. I'm just
Do your
kidding.
thing.
Yeah, just so I can see. All right, so just going back to the beginning with, this is a momentous occasion, right? We're gonna bring the energy up in the room because it needs to be up. We deserve it. Passing of legislation that brings our board, brings West Piedmont Higher Education Center into a whole new whole new era. Going back from 25 years ago or so, when the founding of NCI. So NCI is going bye-bye. And West Piedmont Higher Education Center is here in about 3 weeks. So our marketing committee, led by Delegate, myself, Olivia, and Erica, is not here, have spent some time looking over the logo. You guys have seen it. Has everyone in the room seen it? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just kind of walk you through, the thought process here. And so we're at a moment of what I call major change, right? I can feel your energy coming from your report today. I can see it in just our concentrated efforts and what we're sharing and saying we need to do things differently. So if we continue to do the same things, we're gonna get the same results. So we're doing things differently. And so that's what this logo is going to be. They mentioned a trifold that's gonna talk about what do we do at the college? That's our elevator speech. Like, we need that trifold so that we can go out and tell our story. And that's what this brand is going to do. Trifold, tell the story, build the storyboards. All right, so first you'll see kind of the visual representation here. And what I want to do is just kind of talk through visually what you're seeing and how that translates into the future for West Piedmont Higher Education Center. And I would like everybody to say it out loud because we're stumbling through the words. West Piedmont Higher Education Center. Okay. Or the center. Or the Ed Center. We already gave it a nickname, the Ed Center. But yeah. All right, so go to the next one. All right, so the story behind the logo is we're looking at color representation, and NCI had perfect color representation for it already. If anyone in here can tell me what that logo looks like, raise your hand. What it means? No hands. All right. Yeah, so we don't know what it means, but what this is gonna allow us to do is to actually have a meaning behind what our logo represents. And if you start with the colors on the outside, there's navy. Navy is the anchor for West Piedmont. Everybody say it together. West Piedmont Higher Education Center. All right, and so you'll see at the bottom, there's one bigger piece. One of those mosaic tiles is larger than the rest of them. And that represents West Piedmont Higher Education Center. And that is the anchor for everything that's going to happen within this organization. And as we work our way around, the navy colors represent all of the solid, the board, the people, all the things that happen, the folks in this room that represent West Piedmont Higher Education Center. And as we move into the tiles that are represented here, you'll see different colors represented. And so we have, you can probably go to the next one. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so on this slide, you'll see on the left, you'll see blue. And
You want
blue
this?
is,
Go back.
Do you want
Yeah.
this one?
yes, thank you, thank you. All right, so I just kind of have to go. So this is the full representation here, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna break it out. So as we represent the 4 different pillars that we are operating under, green represents economic development. So as we start to see slides that talk about the economic development within the college, you will see this logo for economic development. When we start talking about the education pillar, we will see light blue. So every organization that's under there, there's 5 organizations that will be under the education centers, they will recognize their work through the blue tile system. And then when we get to orange, orange represents the community. So all the activities and partnerships, Gen Ed and all the other ones, that's all, not that's there, sorry, will all be represented in the orange tiles. All right, so when you talk about us as a whole, you've got the entire organization. You start with your anchor and you work your way through the pathway of choice. So if you're a student and you're looking at workforce development, you're gonna see the tile that belongs to you. If you're in the education sector, then you're gonna see the tile that belongs to you, and so forth and so on. So that's how we start to tell our story. And then as an organization, when someone says, what is West Piedmont Higher Education Center? We have built a storyboard around what this means and what this organization is going to be doing. That's kind of a quick and easy.
You want to say about that?
Okay, yep, so again, the main logo with all the colors represented, that's what we're gonna use for outreach materials. That's what the community is gonna see when we talk about West Piedmont Higher Education Center. And when we start to factor in the pathway that the students are following, then it will break down into the singular colors that we talked about. But overarching theme, you're going to see the full mosaic tile there. And the beauty of this is what I love about it is we're anchoring ourselves here in the Navy. And when they come out, this is their future. And they're out into the world. And so they're gonna enter here with a strong base, with us surrounding them. They're gonna get all the tools and education they need, and then they're gonna go out into the world. So that's it.
And now we just.
So, this was presented at the, committee meeting this morning, Communications and Marketing Committee this morning. We're bringing the approval of the branding campaign with the logo, to the board. So I'll entertain a motion, for the approval of.
Question,
Yes.
what's the total rebranding budget?
63,000.
Yeah,
63.
but this was all done in-house. This didn't cost anything. So staff time.
The budget will be the changing of the logos and all that.
That's all in, is involved in fiscal year 26, nothing carried over to 27.
Signage, exterior signage.
Yeah, the one thing this doesn't include is the physical signage on Fayette Lab and King Hall. I have not been able to obtain quotes on those because I didn't have approval on what the sign would look like. And the sign company said, if you don't send us a proof, we can't really get started on it.
Sorry. No, no problem. No problem. Good question.
Good.
So.
This looks great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So moved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was gonna add a caveat that great job, committee. I think it's
Yeah,
a
great job.
wonderful explanation and made a lot of sense. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, thank you.
It's been properly moved and second to approve the West Piedmont Higher Education Center branding and logo. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion is carried.
Will there be discussed today anything around launching this after July 1st? On July 1st or after? Do we have?
Some kind of event or?
Yes.
Do we have a launch
Yeah, I think that'd be
party, a
great.
launch plan for announcing this to the community.
Yeah, we do have the communications plan that we worked on with Erica when we met last.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say like the party aspect is probably more dependent on y'all. Not all y'all live here. We need the chair, so, we're happy to schedule that. Yeah.
Is that part of, yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Well, one thing I would ask is also to, I hope we can leverage, the New College Foundation,
That's what I was gonna
for some support,
The foundation for.
the new foundation.
The new.
No, the one for
Foundation for
NCI.
NCI.
Yeah, yeah, say it again.
Foundation for
Foundation
NCI.
for NCI. I would hope we could leverage the Foundation for NCI for support, both through their business partnerships. So I can make myself available, but I think shortly after that July 1st date, and as you get all the branding and we do something very official. So I'll leave that, Olivia, for communication to you, but.
Is it normal that the foundation would be lifting up this occasion versus us driving it because they're supporting?
Yeah, if you look around the Commonwealth, I mean, when anything happens big at George Mason or Virginia Tech, the foundation
Yeah.
step up.
Foundations should,
Well, our
So
foundation
like a
has
ribbon cutting
no
of the
money.
sign
Yeah,
goes
but
out,
the
that's sort of a event. I mean, I don't know how long it takes to make signs like that and to install them, but it would be great if we could do it around our board meeting.
Mhm.
I feel like that seems like a reasonable amount of
October?
time. Yeah.
yeah.
And I agree. I think that this is the perfect opportunity for the new foundation to make an impact.
Yeah.
Because this branding, the new.
Bring
view
donors.
is going, I think, and plus it takes money that we don't have to worry about to do that. If they're gonna say we're gonna cover the signage and the printing and all that stuff, that's good money in our pocket that we don't have to
Up for debate what it
spend.
would cover, but essentially it should come
Help.
from
Yeah.
them because they're supporting us.
Right.
Well, Ashley and Eric and Joe are all board members, so we've got 3 people already. You can bring it up.
But there are also community partnerships there, right?
Yes.
There's folks that can help with that, so.
Eric, I have,
What?
coworkers that are aware of the name change. They know I'm here. Do we prefer wait till we bring it out or go ahead and say it's gonna happen July 1st?
Oh, it's public.
yeah.
knowledge.
It's passed a lot.
Yeah.
The governor's signed passed, so like that's.
Yeah, it was signed.
It's not a
Yeah,
secret.
it's
Yeah,
signed.
yeah.
It's
This is not a
just
secret.
a,
You can Google it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
fiscal year
Roll out
change.
the-
Yeah.
roll
Is
out
there,
the
in
new
the
image.
communications plan, is there some kind of like op-ed
Mhm,
for July?
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
we've
Okay.
Yeah.
We got it covered. Okay.
I just did a podcast.
We got it covered.
Yes, we do.
Olivia, I had made one comment on the thing and I still hold it. I don't have anything against the brand. It looks great, but there's a lot of words on those descriptions.
Yeah.
For students,
Mhm.
is there going to be, is the communication team's going to be developed something simpler and shorter
have
to
messaging
explain
for
it for
every
this, for students?
Yes.
Because those are a lot of words.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's mostly for the board members. You guys do not meet very regularly or communicate regularly, so sometimes you need more words to tell a story so that there's less questions when we're distributing things via email, but yes, sir.
So you understand like the details behind the mosaic? And now it's like, for instance, when our trifold comes out, we can include, what the logo means along with the points around, our talking points. The summary of what's good about West Piedmont Higher Education Center. So I think that's a good piece for us to have, to give you what you're asking for.
I lead with blue energy, so it's like, it's so.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
that's what they say, and then you put less words and people want more words. It's happened in this board
Yeah.
more times than I can count.
Or you give them everything and they don't read anything.
Exactly.
So we do it.
One other thing, I was thinking about if we do have a one pager that we can all carry around, it's probably good, even though it's not recognized in our name or any of the branding, but the Baldwin aspect of this
Mhm.
facility is really important in our community.
Mhm.
And don't forget to work that in there
No, that's,
somehow.
And that
I
was
like that
actually-
When
idea.
you look at his, you know, dedication to education, his economic entrepreneurial
That-
spirit in the
That
community.
spirit of what you're saying, I think really could be part of like the anchor,
Yeah.
honestly, you know, because it's built around that whole concept of Baldwin, so that, I think that's
That
easily.
was one of my comments that, you know, we kind of, in a way, kind of have lost a little bit of that touch
Yeah,
in that. That was the only thing, that was my only critique. I
Yeah.
think.
But at the
Well, we
same
can
time,
put that in.
people, we don't want to be just a building,
Right.
which has been a historical thing that people have said about NCI.
yeah.
Because that was one of the probably 6 iterations was one that was sort of an outline of a building. And that was the conclusion we came to.
Mhm. Yeah. I think we can put that Baldwin in easily.
Yeah, I mean, we can have sub-brands, we can, marketing's creative.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for
That
sharing
won't
that.
change the signage. It'll still say the Baldwin building on the building, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's-
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Well, we'll move to the next agenda topic, the proposed FY 27 board meeting.
Yes,
dates.
you should all, everyone should have the sheet of paper that has the 3 proposed dates. I do have a little spreadsheet right here. So I know like Valerie said the one, the date she already knows she can't come. So
Yes.
if you look at your calendars before you leave and just want to put an X or a check mark beside your name, that'll help us figure out whether or not those are good dates.
They can do that upon conclusion. We're not gonna
Yeah.
approve the dates.
There's no
We'll
action
just-
item.
Okay.
All right, so these are post.
Is there
Always have to be on
space?
a Thursday.
Placeholders. No.
What day would you prefer?
I have a recurring meeting every Thursday at 2:00. So, it's kind of hard to miss.
Destiny, I think on the 8th of October, won't we be on Williamsburg for like that?
I don't know if it's that week or the week after.
On mine, it says GA
Is it that way?
250th, whatever,
that
on the
week?
7th, which means we'll be there on the 8th. We're like going to
Right, to the Virginia
go
celebration.
to the old home there that the original
have
House
it
of
for the
Burgesses were to do a big
Oh, that's cool.
General Assembly event.
I
One
have
week
it,
up?
I have it for the 7th.
Yes, which I'm assuming will be overnight.
Yeah, you'll be on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to get back here by the 8th.
Yeah.
I don't
It's the
wanna-
next weekend, is that the 15th, next Thursday?
What, for a board meeting was this?
October,
I mean, there's always. something.
right now
Governor's Rule
it's,
Prosperity
there, we're
Summit the next
talking
week
about
on Thursday.
October 8th, which half of us are not available, so a quarter of us are not available, so we would need to
She would-
think of an
Thanks.
alternate.
Yeah.
So she would be involved as well, so you, yeah.
So I can always send out
Yeah.
doodle polls for
Yeah.
various
But
dates.
Maybe the 4th and the 3rd and the other ones, but the first date. And we might want to consider even moving it to the left due to the newness of,
Mhm.
but we still have to wait to see if the new board members, things like that.
September,
Yeah,
we moving it to September?
maybe. We'll discuss. 'Cause a couple of these dates don't work.
Probably
Now we're
October.
open. Now we'll, Delegate Cole, did you have a comment?
I was just saying probably October date is gonna be better than September for me.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Next on the agenda, we'll open the floor to the public for public comment. Do we have anybody sign up for public comment? Alright. Now entertain a motion for adjournment.
Somebody,
Okay.
We're moving proper second that the Thursday, June 4th meeting of the New College Institute Board of Directors meeting be brought to adjourn. Before we adjourn, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for your attention today, our new members for hanging in there with us, going through several topics. We're definitely making strides and advancements. We're changing, it's written in law that this will have a new brand in essence when we meet again. So with that, I'll have to bring it to a vote. All in favor before adjournment of the meeting, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Is there any final discussion?
Finished on time.
Meeting is adjourned.
all right.
All you all travel, safe
Thank you
travels.
all.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for all that
Yeah.
traveled today.
Yeah,
This is, I think this must be